So Fox weirdo Tucker Carlson got a hold of 40,000 hours of January 6th related material, tapes from around the Capitol, etc. This was one of the lesser known deals struck between the sedition caucus that was holding up McCarthy's appointment as Speaker of the House, and Kevin McCarthy. It's got some interesting implications. A lot of them actually could work in the favor of progressives, but it's also incredibly dangerous for the country. Let's have a gander at Joy Reid talking about it. Here she is.
If there was one main takeaway from last week's release of court filings from Dominion Voting Systems' lawsuit against Fox News, it's that many of the hosts on that network are conscious and remorseless liars. Shocking, I know. Remember, Fox's own lawyers have argued that you should not believe the words coming out of the mouth of their top-rated primetime host, Tucker Carlson. So it ought to concern you that, as we learned today, nominal House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has decided to give Tucker exclusive access to more than 40,000 hours of Capitol surveillance footage from the January 6th insurrection. This is Kevin fulfilling a promise that he made to the extreme far-right members of his caucus who demanded the footage as a condition of eventually supporting him for Speaker, 15 votes in. And beyond the quizzling nature of the gift to the far-right,
Okay, so first of all, I likes to give credit where it's due. That shirt is cool as hell. Oh, Joy Reid, I love it. And also, come on, quizzling? Who uses the word quizzling other than that talk show, the comedy fella? Oh my God, why can't I remember one of the most famous late show hosts ever? Anyway, quizzling's a dumb word, but it means, my understanding is it means like lackey, henchman, etc.
Right? Let's not forget that the person who now has exclusive access to this footage has described January 6th this way.
Oh, yeah, I guess this is more important.
Of all the things that January 6th was, it was definitely not a violent terrorist attack. It wasn't an insurrection. An outbreak of mob violence, a forgettably minor outbreak by recent standards.
It was a coup. It was described around the world by organizations whose job it is to describe it as a coup.
You see people walking around and taking pictures. They don't look like terrorists. They look like tourists.
And if you think Tucker and his team
like
will
terrorists.
use this content honestly, well, we have a bridge to sell you. It's in Brooklyn. It's beautiful. But there is a bigger issue here. The Justice Department and Capitol Police had previously pushed back on the release of this footage as a security risk, as it would include things like where safe rooms and security cameras are located.
Yeah.
Now, we don't know what Tucker will choose to show, but we do know who will be watching. So giving him, of all people, free reign over such footage cannot be in America's best interests. Joining me now is Congressman Jamie Raskin of Maryland, who is a member of the January 6th Select Committee. Congressman, thank you for being here. I mean, I will go on. This is a man who made...
For a moment before she goes on, Jamie Raskin, I mean, the guy is tough as nails. I have so much respect for just his incredible endurance. Look at what he is going through. Loss of his son, a cancer diagnosis. I mean, my word. Here's something I'd like you to keep in mind while you're watching this. Yes, look, don't let me distract from the main takeaway. It's dangerous. What Tucker Carlson is going to do with this footage isn't good. The question is only, is he smart enough not to use it in a blatantly MAGA way, or smart enough not to use it at all? Because, as I will go into in a moment, yes, it would be detrimental to us all if he were to try to use it as a propaganda piece. but for different reasons. And what I would like you to keep in mind is why Kevin McCarthy may not have wanted to give all that footage to Tucker Carlson.
Made an entire documentary called Patriot Purge, in which he alleged that January 6th was a false flag. It's been called deranged by Rolling Stone. It's pushed baseless conspiracy theories, this thing that he created. Off the rails, NPR has called it. The only expectation I can have is that he's going to use this footage, comb through it, and create some sort of alternate narrative January 6th. Can you talk about, you as somebody who was on the January 6th committee, how do you feel about that, and what do you fear based on what he's going to do?
Well, Joy, thank you. Of course, we spent a year and a half studying this, and we found no evidence of Antifa's involvement at all, no evidence of this being a false flag operation. But even if you're paranoid and watching Fox News all day, you don't have to believe us. Just believe what Kevin McCarthy said on January 6th himself to Donald Trump, when Donald Trump tried to float that to Kevin McCarthy, when he called him desperate, saying, call off the dogs. And Trump told him, oh, these aren't our people. This is Antifa. And McCarthy said, no, they're right here in my office. These are your people, Mr. President. And that prompted the reply from Trump to the effect of, well, maybe they just care a little bit more about a stolen election than you do, Kevin. Look, all of this is not in search of the truth with Kevin McCarthy or with Tucker Carlson. It's in search of a conspiracy theory. It's in search of corroborating disinformation and propaganda. And we know that from his 3-part miniseries that he put together, Patriot Purge, which asserted that it was a false flag operation run by Antifa and the FBI. But we found no evidence of that. Our bipartisan committee that operated for more than a year and a half. So really what it demonstrates is the absolute stranglehold that the MAGA right, that Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz are exercising over Kevin McCarthy now as they work overtime to try to put Donald Trump back in office.
Well, they've also said, people like Paul Gosar and Marjorie Taylor Greene, that the purpose of having this footage that they're celebrating is that they want to help clear people who are charged with crimes for having broken into the Capitol. They've all tweeted something to that effect, Gosar, Gaetz, and Greene.
I want to pause it on this. Yeah, let's let them eat their words for a moment. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, J6 videotapes will also be available for all J6 defendants. That's interesting. All 42,000 plus hours. I wonder. First of all, I don't think anything they say should be taken as true. Not that it shouldn't be taken seriously, shouldn't be taken as true. Like if she says this will happen, that means next to nothing other than this is something I may half-heartedly attempt. Paul Gosar, who I suspect may have something of a truck problem, maybe not. I've had some friends who had problems, and all I'm saying is the meth checks out. The defendants aren't given the proper background to defend themselves. It has to happen. Absolutely, it has to happen. Okay. And then Gaetz, F that guy. We are going to be a child sex trafficker. We are going to be able to sue me, you mother. We are going to be able to see if there is exculpatory evidence that would show people never intended to violate the law. Boy, if it shows them inside the Capitol, thank you. Train coming by. Yeah. If it shows them inside the Capitol, it shows them violating the law. It's that simple. So here's a question to ask. All these folks, they're making a big deal out of getting the tapes out. Do you really think they give an F about J6 defendants? I don't. I really don't. I don't think they give an F about anybody except themselves. Why are they pushing so hard for this? It's a political stunt. That is all it is to them. Why would the Republicans not want to also engage in this stunt? Let's Why would Fox engage in this stunt? Why is it a stunt that works for them? If they remember how we've talked about in the past about how they work, if they make a big deal about this and they flap their arms and say J6, and it works out for our side, that is all Republicans hear. The average Republican, all they hear is J6, our side is correct. And when they hear the other side, when they hear, facts and the truth, all they hear is J6, and we say the other side's correct. But remember, consequences are the difference. This played out in a court of law. That changes things. That means those facts get checked in an arena where if you lie, you go to prison. Ooh, boy, that changes the math significantly.
Are we in danger of not just that, of them trying to twist this footage, cut little pieces of it that they think will help criminals get out of jail or get out of trouble, but also I'm concerned that these are the people that the Russians listen to, including Tucker, that he can put on something that is false, not real, but that is very useful to our enemies, including knowing where the security cameras are on Capitol Hill.
Well, look, Tucker Carlson is a pro-Putin, pro-Orban, pro-autocrat propagandist. So while we've got the president of the United States over in Ukraine expressing solidarity with the forces of democratic freedom, Kevin McCarthy is releasing these tapes to one network, not making it public for everybody, not giving it to CNN and MSNBC and the New York Times, Washington Post, giving it to Fox News and to Tucker Carlson so he can forward his propaganda theories. And as you say, this is a serious security risk. I mean, the reason, there's thousands of hours of footage that are out there already, but the reason all of it wasn't released is precisely because it lays out floor design, it lays out evacuation routes, it lays out where the vice president went, it lays out where the senior members of Congress were evacuated and so on. So I hope that Kevin McCarthy at least has planned for that. But at this point, since he's made it available to one network, he may as well make it available to all networks, because we know, as you suggest, they're going to be cherry picking it in order to, corroborate however they can their absurd conspiracy theories.
That is a really good point. If you are going to make it available to one network, you should indeed simply release it to the general public. At the very least, release it to all networks within whatever what little security limitations were put on when it was given to Fox. Yes, absolutely, that is what should happen. I'm not sure that's what's going to happen, but it should be, I would say, at a minimal, a complaint filed by the other networks. It should be formally requested by the networks. Yes. But again, I stress the point of this. What more are they going to be able to say, the networks, other than, go read the J6 reports? Probably nothing new, but it'll give them an ability to counter the splicing that Fox News does of it. And if this is not released to other networks, what we should be watching for is awkward cuts. If you see what appears to be a really what is it, exculpatory? I don't know. A piece of footage that looks one way, that Fox plays over and over again, and it's like the same 5 seconds of footage, we should start asking, show us the whole clip. Show us the before and after of what happens there. And I promise you, Fox will have cherry-picked it.
Embodied in the Patriot Purge series.
One can only hope that all of the networks, including this one, will insist that everyone get it, because I've never heard of one network getting exclusive access to what is essentially government information. If you're going to give it out, give it to everyone, but it concerns me.
That really is out of Putin's playbook. You pick your propaganda mouthpiece and you give it to them.
Yeah, right out of Putin's playbook. Congressman Jamie Raskin, thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, so why am I not sweating this? Why? It's the same reason why McCarthy likely resisted doing this in the first place. Easily the dumbest thing that Republicans in general could do right now is draw more attention to January 6th. Let's not forget that Trump is eyeballing indictments currently. I mean, we were talking in the stream yesterday about when do we think the indictment's going to come this month in Georgia? Do we think it's going to come early March, end of March? Boy, howdy. It's not a good time to have Republicans bringing up the fact that January 6th is something there's any disagreement on. They want that to be, if they intend to survive as a party, just a Trump thing, not a Republican thing. So to be rehashing this in any way is it's ill-advised. Then, oh boy, then imagine for a moment that Fox gets this footage and they take out very specific clips, and let's say it's a guy trying to leave out one exit, and a police officer stops him and says, "You can't go out that exit. You have to go out that exit." And so the guy walks away from that exit, and then there's another angle from another camera of them leaving out a different exit 20 feet down the road. Maybe the police officer stopped him because at that moment there was Congress people being evacuated from the other or near the other exit in line of sight. You know, there could be a reason like that. But let's just say they snip out that clip, and it's of a guy trying to leave then, and a police officer saying, "Nope, you can't leave." And they cut it off before he says, "Out that exit, you have to use that exit." And they go, "Look, they herded them in here, and then they said they couldn't leave." And that's the conspiracy. What is that going to do to the MAGA base? I'll give you a hint. The House is now controlled by right-wingers. The MAGA base is going to insist they have their own J6 committee. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Wouldn't that be wonderful? If the House has their own J6 committee, where they also have people under oath. Remember what Clinton got impeached for? Lying under oath. If they have people under oath having to talk about January 6th, they either have to make an ass out of the MAGA J6 committee by saying, nope, this is what happened, X, Y, and Z, or they lie under oath, and during the upcoming trials, they get just slaughtered. Plus, all of the work they do, the public, I mean, when they present it, the public will be privy to. So if they interviewed a couple of hundred people and they pick 5 to go talk, and of course are the 5 craziest nutbags, the public will say, well, wait a minute. You spent all that time, members of the committee said you were interviewing hundreds of people. Who were the other people that you didn't ask to come testify? Point is, this can be nothing but bad for MAGA. Now, it can be bad for everybody else as well. Don't get it twisted. This is still dangerous. The fact that Tucker Carlson will be able to do more, I mean, rabble-rousing. This is very much in Putin's interest. And as they mentioned, these guys do work for Russians. You want to know how Russia attacks modernly? He sows discord in the country. The guy's going to regret it, but I can't deny he's in part responsible for my my fondness for Bernie Sanders. Yeah, Vladimir Putin is. Why? In 2016, it has come to light that Russia was using what they call their web brigade to support far left and far right U.S. candidates for office, including Bernie Sanders. The difference is Bernie Sanders did not ask for their support and did not work with them. Bernie Sanders, to my knowledge, didn't accept any money from Russian oligarchs. What he did do was run an honest far-left campaign, also known as the same campaign he has always run. But the Web Brigade posted pro-Bernie memes, etc., etc., etc. The point was not to get Bernie elected. I don't think they actually considered that they would really be getting these people elected. On the other side of that, though, you had MAGA, or Trump at the time, which became the Make America Great Again section of the Republicans, which, frankly, it's just mask-off Republicans. But he was happy. He'd take money from anybody. He full-on stage, asked for Russia's help. So in Trump, they hit the jackpot, Russia. They in terms of sowing American discord, yeah, they absolutely hit the jackpot. They got, I think if they would have known that Trump actually getting elected was a possibility, they would have, tripled down on him early. They got a lack of support for Ukraine. A large part of the reason the Ukrainian invasion even happened, Russia's invasion of Ukraine even happened, was because of our weakened relationship. Remember, Trump's first impeachment was over his attempting to bribe Volodymyr Zelensky. Absolutely wild the way that worked out. But don't forget who the core instigator was. It began with Putin tampering with United States politics. It's an attack. It is literally how they attack. So, these super pro-Putin MAGA types, including far-right congressmen who take bribes from Russian oligarchs. I give you George Santos. We did a whole story on that. I promise you, I will look into it, but I promise you, Matt Gaetz has taken money from Russian oligarchs. I'll look up the specifics in a moment. But these super far-right people are now rabble-rousing once again. And I think it's going to backfire. Because this is going to, if Tucker Carlson takes this football and runs with it, this is just going to result in a demand for a right-wing version of the J6 committee. And I don't see how they could run that without hurting themselves in the polls, without making themselves look more ridiculous. And that would be happening while the leader of all of this is theoretically undergoing a trial for attempting a coup. Honestly, I mean, it's going to be destructive, but I'm going to be laughing at the equal destruction which is done to MAGA. I say it's going to be destructive because a lot of the folks that hear this are a lot of far right extremists are just, or rather, a lot of the people on the far right are just one or two small issues away from going full on extremist, load the guns, let's go, crazy. So my concern is that, yeah, people are going to hear this, and some of the kooks are going to be motivated to do something awful, attack a jail, some of the personnel there, or who knows what. But on the upside, McCarthy is going to suffer, and that makes me happy because there will be calls from the far right to go have a J6 committee, and he's either going to have to say, no, we're not doing that, and come up with a reason why, or he's going to have to actually try to investigate Antifa's involvement in a Trump rally turned apparently planned riot. It's going to be delicious Schadenfreude. If you want to do something about this, you actually can vote in primaries, folks. Good Lord. If we have seen nothing else, look at how Russia attempted to attack us. Look at what the two versions of extremists did. Far left extremists are like, yeah, we are going to extremely provide health care for all. We are going to extremely make sure there are social safety nets for all Americans, so we all have a fair shot at the American dream. You can't good guy your way into villainy, and they were attempting to do that. I think Bernie showed quite nicely. Also, the fact that most people on the far left do not take corporate PAC money and would not take a donation from an oligarch. So this can only backfire for Russia. If you want to know who to support, yeah, go left. Go as left as you can. Vote in the primaries. Get the Democratic ticket loaded up with people who are actually going to vote for progressive issues, who are going to vote for support of Ukraine. Also bear in mind, when I say this is Russia's way of attacking, I mean that literally. What is happening now is Russia's way of attacking Ukraine. They are just waiting right now. They are just waiting, attempting. Oh, thought I was closing it out. No, son. Or daughter, whatever. No, this is Russia's way of attacking Ukraine. They're just waiting for somebody else to be in control of the government. They are hoping that votes to continue funding Ukrainian resistance to invasion don't go through. They're hoping they get enough far-right people that Ukraine's assistance from the United States is cut off. That is, when you want to look at the actual military consequences of it, there it is. They are hoping that U.S. arms, those fat Abrams tanks, baby, those Bradleys, those Javelin missiles, the Saint Javelin, be praised, that's taken out Russian helicopters and tanks left and right. They're hoping that stops by tricking enough Americans through propaganda to get MAGA folks in office. So you've got to counteract that. I say go far left instead of just left because we have people like Hillary Clinton who, yes, they would, excuse me, I know Hillary Clinton's not on the ticket. Hillary Clinton said a thing. She was saying she hopes this becomes Russia's Afghanistan, meaning a long, drawn-out war which drains that country's resources. You know what? From a you only care about America's well-being perspective, yeah, that would be ideal. If we could keep the war going indefinitely, give Ukraine just enough support to keep fending off Russia, but not drive them out entirely, yeah, that would be in probably America's best interest. You couldn't get a better bang for your buck. The competition on the world stage is between the United States, China, and Russia. Russia is now a distant third, and the longer they stay in this war, the farther they're going to fall. The longer we have to not even worry about them. From a human decency point of view, what we should be doing is giving Ukraine everything they need to kick out Russian invaders immediately. Today. Abrams tanks, beautiful. Bradleys, beautiful. Keep them coming. Give them jet fighters. I don't give a damn. Kick out the Russian invaders. I'm not anti-war. I am simply anti-invasion. I'm anti-aggressor, but I'm real pro resisting the aggressors. So by all means, load them up. Go left to give Ukraine the resources they need to win the war. That is the decent thing to do. That's why I advocate for voting in primaries and voting as left as you can. I take it back. That's not why I advocate for voting in primaries. That is why I advocate for voting as left as you can in primaries. In fact, in any given opportunity. Vote as left as you can, because left equals good governance, frankly. However, I do want to clarify, I advocate for voting in primaries because it is an option available to you as an American citizen, even if you disagree with me on every point. That's a statement of fact. It's an option available to you, and you should take advantage of it. If you care about Ukraine, if you care about decency in America, and if you care about honesty in politics, I suggest you vote as far left as you can.